Hello everybody! As you all know, AI has a huge potential to completely change how we all live and work. And from my point of view, it will also have a huge impact on our smart home. In the smart home of the future, you will not have to define automations on your own anymore. Your smart home will rather automatically adapt to their inhabitants as well as the context based upon all the sensor data it has. But it will still take a little time until this will happen. But today I want to show you a great use case of how you can use AI to better understand what's happening in your house. In this video I want to show you how you can use AI to analyze the pictures taken by your cameras in and around the house to get a better understanding on what's going on in your house and also to search for things that you're missing. And the very cool thing is, all this will happen locally in your house. No data will leave the boundaries of your home. Let's jump right in.
Smart home maker, rock the beat. Innovation at your feet. Build it up, don't complicate. Home solutions, you're the mate.
So, how is this supposed to work? Well, first of all, we will make use of Ollama. Ollama is a tool that allows you to run AI models locally on your own home server in your own home network. And we will connect Home Assistant locally to Ollama so that Home Assistant can take a picture from a security camera, send it to Ollama for processing with an AI model, and then receive the result back and further work with this result. An example automation could be that you take, for example, a motion sensor as a trigger for an automation, and whenever motion is detected in a certain area around your house, you will take a picture from a security camera observing this area. You send this picture together with a prompt, which says, for example, do you see something suspicious in this image, to Ollama. Ollama will send it to an AI model for processing. The result will be sent back to Ollama and from Ollama back to Home Assistant, and you can use the result in your automation for further processing. For example, you could send a push notification to yourself which tells you what's going on in this area. The first thing you have to do in order to make this work is to install Ollama. I will now show you how to do this. Just open ollama.com and then download Ollama for your operating system. At the moment it is available for macOS, Linux and for Windows as a preview. I'm using macOS, so I can directly start with the download for macOS. After the download has finished, you should have a zip file in your downloads folder. You can just unzip it . And then you have to move Ollama as an application to your programs folder. After having moved the file to your programs folder, you can just double click on the Ollama icon and afterwards open a terminal like I've done here. Once you are in the terminal, you should now be able to run Ollama. Let's just try any AI model to see how it works. You just type in Ollama, run, and then we say Mistral. This is an AI model that I want to try out now. You can find all the available AI models on the ollama.com website. If you've never started an AI model, Ollama first has to download the model, as you can see here. This will take a little time and we will fast forward. Now the model has successfully been downloaded and it has also been loaded to your memory, so you can now start having a conversation with this model. Let's just ask a simple question. How many people are living on Earth? And let's see what it responds. As you can see, we got a valid response, even though the data that is included in this AI model is a little outdated. You can see that the latest available number was from October 2021. But still, you can see you have a conversation with an AI model, and all this is happening locally on your machine in this case. Now you saw how you can install Ollama locally on your machine. The next step is to decide where you actually want to host Ollama in your network. Maybe it is not your local desktop computer, but a server you have running in your house. So you have to install Ollama there so that you can serve with Ollama to Home Assistant. And I will now show you how to do this and how to configure it. But make sure that you install it and configure it on the machine that you want Ollama to be running on as a server. So if you are going to run the Ollama server on a machine in your network that is different to the machine Home Assistant is running on, you have to make sure that Home Assistant can access that Ollama server via the URL of the machine the Ollama server is running on. Normally, if you just launch Ollama, it will not kind of expose to outside of its own machine. It will only expose within the local machine, so you can access it via localhost in the browser on the machine where Ollama is running on. But if you want to access it from a different machine in your network, you have to make sure that you follow the steps that I'll show you now. So first of all, please close any process instance of Ollama that is running at the moment. And now I show you how to do this on macOS. If you have a different operating system, you might have to look it up, because I'm using macOS and I just have a tutorial for macOS at the moment. So on macOS you have to set an environment variable, and that environment variable is called Ollama host. So we have to type in the following command: launch control setEnv for setting a environment variable. Ollama host is the name of the variable, and then we type in 0.0.0.0:11434, which is the port for Ollama. And then we just type in enter, and now we have to type in Ollama serve. This will start Ollama as a server, and it will allow Ollama to be accessible via your network with its REST API. And that's very important, because we want to use that REST API to access Ollama from within Home Assistant. Now we are ready to try out our Ollama server. I want to use CURL for sending a request to my Ollama server and see what it will respond. So we use CURL and then we type in the URL. In this case, now I'm going to access it via the IP address. So http://192.168.178.89. This is the IP address of my machine where Ollama is running on. :11434. This is the port for Ollama. Then we say /API/generate. Okay, this will now send a request to the Ollama API, and we need to pass in some data, -d, and then we have to pass in a JSON object where we specify first of all the model. In this case we try Llama 3. This is an AI model from Meta, and we have to specify our prompt. And what's our prompt? Maybe we can just ask it, and I'm curious what it would say. What is the best open source home automation solution? Hopefully it answers Home Assistant. Okay, so we close our curly brackets for the JSON object, and we close our string, and that's it. We can now send this request to our Ollama server. Okay, I cancel this because it's going to be a very long response. But what you can see is that it says for each kind of word that you get or a token, you will have one line here which says, okay, the model Llama 3, here's the date when it was created, and here's the response. There are many excellent open source home automation solutions out there, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Here are some of the most popular ones. First, OpenHAB. OpenHAB, short for Open Home Automation Bus, etc. So it will hopefully also list Home Assistant here, but you can see generally how it works. Okay, now we've seen how we can send a request to our Ollama server, including a prompt and a model so that it knows with which model to process this prompt. But in our case, we want to be able to process images. So for this, we have to find now a multimodal model, first of all, which is able to handle images as an input as well. And we also need to slightly change our request to the server. So in this case, we use the same thing, CURL, HTTP, okay, and now we say /API/generate -d. Okay, here's now the difference. We have to specify a different model. We use Lava, which is a multimodal model which is able to handle images. Then we say prompt and we ask it, what do you see in this image? And then we have to also define the image. For that you can use the parameter images, colon, and then we have an array of images here, and it's going to be a string, so we have to make sure that we will copy a string here. And what kind of string it is a base 64 encoded version of our image. So I will just open a new tab here, and then we use base 64 minus I, which means input. Oh, base 64, sorry. /users. And then I have prepared an image, it's called cam.jpg. It's just a download from my security camera, and we will base 64 encode this. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to just copy this string here. Copy and then paste it here. Okay, so we can now send this request to Lava. Okay, I stopped this now. But you can see it works quite well. The image appears to be a screenshot. Quite interesting that it even recognized that it is a screenshot from my security camera and it's not an actual image from it. From a security camera, showing an interior space, yes, because it's an image of my living room. There is a person standing in the middle of the room. Yes, that's me, because I was standing there with my smartphone taking a screenshot from my security camera. dressed in black attire. The room has a modern design with a dark floor, and there is a wooden dining table, which is absolutely correct, visible. On the table there are a few items, including what looks like a laptop or tablet and etc. And there was my laptop on this table, so you see, it works quite well. Now we have Ollama installed, and we can also process prompts with our AI models locally. But how do we connect this to Home Assistant, and how do we allow Home Assistant to send images to our AI models? I was searching the Home Assistant integration space for any integration that allows to actually send images accompanied by a prompt to Ollama, but I myself was not able to find any solution. Maybe you can find a solution and you can just comment below. But as I didn't find a solution, I just decided to build my own first Home Assistant integration. And this Home Assistant integration is quite simple. It allows you to define a prompt. It allows you to also define an image path that you can take from a snapshot. And it allows you to define an AI model, and then you can just send the data to Ollama and receive the response back. Okay, to install my custom Ollama image analysis component in Home Assistant, you have to open Hex. And if you do not have Hex, Hex is the Home Assistant community store. You can also just search for any tutorial on YouTube. There are lots of people who have already created great tutorials about adding Hex to Home Assistant. So once you've installed Hex, you can open Hex and go to integrations. Then you first have to add my repo. So you have to go to custom repositories, and there you add the URL to the HAS Ollama image analysis repo. You will find the URL also in my blog, and the blog will be linked in the video description. You have to select integration as a category, and then you add it to Hex. This will take a little time, and now you see there is a new repository, and we can just directly open it. Here you see the description, but we don't need to read it now. We can directly go to download, click download, and the component will be installed. Now we can go back, and we can see that it says pending restart, because if you install a new component via Hex, you always have to restart Home Assistant. So this is what we're going to do now, and I'll see you back after the restart. Okay, Home Assistant has restarted, and we can now add the integration to our integrations in Home Assistant. So we can click on Devices and Services, we can click Add Integration, we can search for Ollama, and then you should directly find Ollama Local AI Models Image Analysis. This is the component that I created. We have to type in the host, and you see I had already typed it in. So this is my host, but you have to type in, of course, the IP address of your host here, and then also the port. But usually this port for Ollama is 11434. You click submit, and you see it was successful. Now the integration is available. We can test it if we now go to the developer tools and we click on services, and here we have the possibility to try out all the services that are available in Home Assistant. So we can just type in Ollama Local AI Models Image Analysis. So you see this is the service that my integration provides. You can click it, and here we have the possibility to type in a prompt, to hand over an image path, and also to choose a model. So we can try and say, what do you see in the image? And then we need a image path, and I've prepared an example image that is located in share camera images test.jpg. So let's call the service and see what it will respond. I will fast forward a little bit because it will take a little while. Because what you saw before in the console was a streamed result. So you got one token at a time. But here you will get the whole result at once, and it will take a little time until it will have prepared the whole response. And here we have our response. So you can see that it responds. The image appears to be a photograph of an interior room. That's correct. It's again a picture of my living room, but this time without me as a person on this picture. It says taken from a surveillance camera or similar perspective. The room is furnished with several pieces of furniture, including a dining table with chairs, a couch, and various decorative items such as books, vases, and a clock on the wall. There are also some artwork and mirrors hanging above the couch. Yeah, so you can see that this describes my whole living room and it works. Now we have everything set up and I will show you some example automations. The first example automation is one that I have mentioned already earlier in this video. So there is a motion sensor in my living room, and if this motion sensor detects motion, then I take a snapshot with my camera in the living room, and this will be stored to share/camera images/test.jpg for now. Then I call the service Ollama image analysis, and I hand in the image. Also, I hand in a prompt, and this prompt says motion was detected in our living room, and the following image shows a picture taken from our security cam in the living room. Can you please check what's going on? Is there a person? And then I say, please summarize your findings in maximum 100 characters. The reason for this is that I want to use the response coming from this to send it to my mobile phone as a notification. And yeah, you can see here, message is motion was detected in the living room, and then response from ollama.result. This is the response, and you could of course add the actual image as well, but then you would have to store it in your www folder so that it is publicly accessible. But then you would even send the image accompanied with the analysis of the image. Here's the result. You can see that in case motion is detected, it will now send a push notification with the analysis result of the image. Great. The automation that I want to show you is really cool, what I think. So here you can ask your assist a question for a missing object. For example, you could say, where is my laptop? Where are my sunglasses? And whichever word you say for this slot here, this is a so-called slot, will be assigned to the variable object to be found. So for example, if I would say, where is my laptop? Then the word laptop would be assigned to this variable object to be found. And then we could use this further down in the automation. Then we take a picture from the camera again, and then we call our service Ollama image analysis again. Here we have the YAML mode now because we are using a variable in this prompt, and that's why it automatically switches to the YAML mode. So we have a model lava. Again, we have our image path that comes from this camera snapshot, and then we have the prompt, and here the prompt says, please search the given image for a, and then we fill in the variable which can be found in trigger.slots.object to be found, which is the name of the slot. So this would be filled with laptop, for example, or sunglasses. Please search the given image for a laptop and tell me whether you found it. And then put the response in the response variable and respond back to the user. And here I just directly respond with the result coming from Ollama, but you could also maybe some add some words before or after, whatever you need. And I think this is really great. And now you can see what happens if I do this. It will actually tell me where my laptop is. In this case, my laptop is actually on the table in the living room, and the camera took a snapshot, and the Ollama service, or the AI model behind the Ollama service, found out that the laptop is on the table and lets me know that. And I think this is really great. And you could even go further with this automation. For example, you could have a loop running through all of your cameras and then search all of your camera images for this object that you're searching for example. And then you would find it. And I think this is really helpful and really cool. So these were just 2 example automations, but I bet you have also lots of ideas like me, because I have so many ideas in my head how I could use this. And if you have also some really great ideas, then please let me know in the comments. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. I will link a description on how to install everything below, and also will give you the possibility to find my repository with the custom component that I built for Home Assistant. If you enjoyed this tutorial, then please leave a like and also subscribe to my channel so that I will see you again in my upcoming tutorials. Thank you, bye bye.